Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Assembly Judiciary. Welcome to everyone here in Carson City, as well as those in Las Vegas, and of course, anyone watching online through YouTube or through Nellis. With that, Committee Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Assembly members Cole, here. Dahlia, here. Gonzalez, here. Gray, here. Hanson, here. Hardy, here. LaRue Hatch, here. Marzola, present. Moore, here. Nadeem, present. Orenlicker, here. Roth, here. Urick, here. Chair Miller.
Here. Thank you. With that, just a few reminders. Please make sure that you turn down your electronic devices. Also, we will have public comment at the end of today's meeting. I ask that anyone making public comment or testifying on a bill, please keep their comments to 2 minutes each. And of course, anyone presenting a bill, please keep their presentation to 15 minutes. Or 16, maybe 16. Of course, anyone speaking today, we ask that you state your name and that you spell it so that we have it correct for the record. And with that, I believe we are ready to begin. We have 2 items on our agenda today. We'll begin with our work session. Members, you do have your work session documents in front of you. And with that, I will hand it over to our policy analyst.
Thank you, Chair Miller. For the record, Cesar Melgarejo, Committee Policy Analyst. As nonpartisan staff of the LCB, I do have to note that I cannot support nor oppose any of the measures that come before this committee. And the first measure on the work session today is Assembly Bill 299, which is sponsored by Assembly Member Marzola, and it was heard on March 10, 2025. This bill requires a peace officer to arrest a person whether or not a warrant has been issued if there is probable cause to believe that a person has violated the prohibition of a customer engaging or soliciting for prostitution except in a licensed house of prostitution. Assemblymember Marzola did submit an amendment which is to add Senator Cannizzaro as a co-sponsor, as well as to extend the statute of limitations to 20 years for certain civil actions seeking damages for injuries resulting from unlawful prostitution or solicitation. And Chair Miller, that's all the amendments.
Thank you so much. Members, any questions? Not seeing any questions, I will entertain a motion to amend and do pass.
So moved.
I have a motion from Assemblymember LaRue Hatch. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second from Assemblymember Moore. With that, any additional comments or questions? Not seeing any. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And the motion passes unanimously. I will assign that floor statement to Vice Chair Marzola. Next.
Thank you, Chair Miller. The next bill is Assembly Bill 329, which is sponsored by Assemblymember Roth and was heard on March 10, 2025. Assembly Bill 329 revises various provisions related to an application for compensation from the Fund for the Compensation of Victims of Crime. And there is an amendment that was submitted by Jonathan Norman, Policy Director of the Nevada Coalition of Legal Service Providers, which proposes to amend to revise victims' compensation eligibility by requiring documentary evidence instead of communication records, extend application deadlines for minor victims to 60 months after turning 21 with possible waivers, and remove the requirement for victims to cooperate with law enforcement to qualify for compensation. And Chair, that's all the amendments.
Thank you. With that, members, any questions? Not seeing any, I will entertain a motion to amend and do pass AB 329.
So moved.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Marzola and a second from Assemblymember Dahlia. Any other comments or questions? Not seeing any. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And the motion passes unanimously. I will assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Roth. You're welcome.
Thank you, Chair Miller. Next bill and final bill in the work session is Assembly Bill 387, which is sponsored by this committee and it was heard on March 21, 2025. Assembly Bill 387 revises provisions related to guardianship of minors. And there is an amendment. Actually, there is 2 separate amendment documents that are attached to this work session document. They're both proposed by Jonathan Norman, Policy Director of the Nevada Coalition of Legal Service Providers, which proposes to amend proposes various amendments concerning notice requirements, clarifying roles and rights in guardianship proceedings, adjust standards for child welfare information and petition, expand court authority regarding visitation and guardianship decisions, and revising provisions for managing minors' estates. Additional changes include defining terms, addressing attorney representation standards, and revising criteria for guardianship termination cases. And Chair Miller, that's all the amendments.
Thank you so much. Members, any questions? Not seeing any, I will entertain a motion to amend and do pass. So moved. Thank you. I have a motion from Vice Chair Marzola. Do I have a second? I have a second from Assemblymember Nadeem. Any additional questions or comments? Not seeing any, I'll take a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And with that, the motion passes unanimously. I will go ahead and assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Anderson. Okay, with that, that concludes our work session for today. We have one bill on the agenda, Assembly Bill 194. So I will go ahead and open up the hearing for Assembly Bill 194, which prohibits the release of certain balloons that are lighter than air under certain circumstances. Members, I trust that you have seen the amendment as well. Okay, thank you so much. So, Majority Leader, your bill session hearing is open. So whenever you are settled and ready to proceed, please begin.
Thank you, Chair. And I just want to make sure that I have two presenters down south, my constituent Nicole Bott and City Councilwoman Nancy Bruni. There they are. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, Chair Miller and members of the Assembly Committee on Judiciary. Good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here in front of you again today. I'm Sandra Howdegi, representing Assembly District 41. I'm happy to be here today to present Assembly Bill 194, which seeks to address the environmental and public safety risks associated with the intentional release of balloons inflated with lighter-than-air gases. Balloon releases, while often symbolic, pose significant environmental and safety hazards. When released, balloons frequently end up as litter in waterways or natural habitats, where they harm wildlife and contribute to microplastic pollution. Mylar balloons, in particular, are non-biodegradable and can cause power outages or fires when they come into contact with power lines. According to NV Energy, balloons have caused dozens of power outages in Nevada over the past 4 years, including one in North Las Vegas that left 12,000 residents without power. Recognizing these risks, other states and local governments have enacted similar restrictions, including the city of Las Vegas, which passed an ordinance banning outdoor balloon releases due to their environmental impact and risks to critical infrastructure. In 2023, we passed Assembly Bill 321 to regulate foil balloons by requiring weights and banning conductive strings. Assembly Bill 194 complements these efforts by addressing intentional balloon releases statewide to further protect our environment and infrastructure. The reason I'm bringing this bill, committee, is that 2 years ago, a constituent reached out to me and asked me to meet her for coffee, and she brought this to my attention. It was an issue that was very important to her. We couldn't get a bill 2 years ago due to time here at the legislative session, but she didn't give up. 2 years later, before the legislative session started, she reached out to me wanting to work on this issue again because it's an issue that's very important to her, and here we are. And so, Chair, with your permission, I would like to turn it over to my constituent, Nicole Bott, to give some remarks on why this issue is important to her. I would then like to turn it over to Mr. Ballows with NV Energy and close it off with a Councilwoman Bruni down in Las Vegas. And we do also have some pictures that we submitted to the committee of balloons that have been caught in power lines and that were provided to us by NV Energy. And so we'll leave those up while my constituent gives remarks. So, Ms. Bott, when you're ready, if you could just state and spell your name for the committee, and then please proceed with your remarks. Oh, Ms. Bott, if you could just hit your mic button.
Got it. Thanks. My name is Nicole Bott, Nicole, B as in boy, H-A-T. Good morning. It's an honor to be here and a dream come true, really. So thank you, Majority Leader, for the invitation and all the hard work that you and your team have done. This bill has been a vision and a passion of mine for many years. So why should we pass this bill? Because balloons are a danger to the environment, including wildlife and marine life. Balloons cause power outages and can provoke fires. And again, as stated, Mylar balloons never biodegrade. Additionally, strong winds can send these balloons hundreds or thousands of miles away. And that's not how we should be treating our neighboring states. So who is affected by balloons? Wildlife like rabbits, birds, lizards, bighorn sheep, and very importantly, our protected, threatened, and beloved desert tortoises. Not just eating the balloons is dangerous, the animals can also get caught up in the strings. Power outages affect citizens, especially during summer without AC, and people who rely on power for medical apparatus. So what can this bill do to help? It will help eliminate litter, stop killing our animals, stop causing power outages at its root. The solution is quite easy. Simply don't release balloons. Children love balloons. Pets love balloons. Balloons are an iconic way to celebrate. We want people to celebrate and enjoy the balloons, but dispose of them responsibly. It's time to educate our children that while it may seem fun, releasing balloons has negative consequences. So who supports this bill? Well, let's start with the city of Las Vegas, who's already made an ordinance. We want to make it statewide. Fire departments call balloons a menace, so they're all in. And I'm willing to bet we have support from the Humane Society, PETA, Audubon, Department of Wildlife, EPA, and the Desert National Wildlife Refuge. And I'm pretty sure I can speak on behalf of the animals that we have their support too. I'm confident that we have support from the 10 other states that have already passed this bill. Now it's our turn to do the right thing. There's virtually no cost to the county or the state, and I don't foresee any significant opposition. Balloon manufacturers and retail sales would not be affected. There is an organization in town that does very good work. Unfortunately, they partake in balloon releases to send a message to a loved one in heaven. And we all know balloons never make it to heaven and the law of gravity. And I doubt the loved ones would want animals killed on their behalf. We can help find them other ways. We need to stop making this socially acceptable. The bottom line is that releasing balloons into the atmosphere does not serve any benevolent purpose, just the opposite. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Ballows with NV Energy and then the City Councilwoman, and then I'll walk the committee through the bill and the amendment.
Thank you, Majority Leader, and good morning, Chair Miller and members of the committee. My name is Ryan Bellows, R-Y-A-N-B-E-L-L-O-W-S. I'm the Vice President of Government and External Relations at NV Energy, and I'm glad to be here with you today on this important bill. I wanted to just highlight the safety and awareness components of the bill and the importance of those. So as an electric utility, we remain focused on the dangers that balloons pose to our infrastructure, especially Mylar or foil balloons. And as the Majority Leader mentioned in the last session in Assembly Bill 321, which is now law, we are phasing out electrically conductive balloons over time, and so that's a great step. But this bill really adds more protections and is a great step in the right direction. So what happens is I have just a couple pictures here. When these foil balloons are released, they can spark when they hit our infrastructure, and they can damage our equipment. Just a couple here. These first two are actually a recent outage, which I'll talk about. And then that's even a non-Mylar balloon that impacted our lines as well. And so when they come into contact with our power lines, it not only puts our customers out of power, it also creates an enormous safety threat to those who are called to restore power, so our line workers. Because these balloons, what happens is they melt into the line, and so when our line workers go to restore power, they actually have to remove these by hand. And in this picture, you can see we had to bring in specialized equipment, which was expensive and also poses great safety risks, so it has to be done with great care to remove that balloon. And so this is a tough thing for our workers. And so while we've taken great steps over the years to really educate the public on the risks of these balloon releases, despite our best efforts, this still remains a leading cause of power outages that we have. And so the majority leader referenced dozens of outages that we've experienced over the years, and that's primarily in Southern Nevada. Across the state, it's actually in the hundreds of outages over the last 5 years, and so it's a serious problem. Hundreds of thousands of customers have experienced an outage as a result of this, and most recently on March 2nd in downtown Las Vegas, just a single balloon release took 10,000 customers out of power for a few hours, and so it's definitely a hardship and a safety risk. And so I just want to thank the bill sponsor for bringing this forward and really just highlight this important safety aspect and the awareness aspect of this bill, and would urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And if we could go to our last presenter, City Council Member Bruni.
Good morning, committee members. Nancy Bruni, BRUNE, City of Las Vegas. For the record, thank you, Majority Leader Hadagi, for introducing AB 194. Ryan and Nicole have done a great job outlining the consequences of helium-filled balloons making their way into the atmosphere. I would like to add a little more context at this time. Last year, I authored an ordinance to ban the outdoor release of balloons filled with gas lighter than air, which the City of Las Vegas adopted, and it went into effect immediately. So, members of this committee, I think it's important to note that when we proposed the ordinance, the City of Las Vegas is required to do a business impact analysis, and so we surveyed businesses. At that time, we received no negative feedback or concerns from the business community. In fact, over time, we've heard growing support from small businesses for this ordinance because the outages, when they happen, really do affect business continuity, which affects smaller businesses disproportionately. One of the last power outages caused by a balloon getting entangled in the power lines in the City of Las Vegas happened back in January, and we heard that the Beverly Theater, for example, could not show their film and had to reimburse tickets. Several restaurants in the area couldn't serve their food after the machine shut down. So there's a lot of food spoilage. And so this kind of ordinance really would support small businesses and ensure business continuity. I will share that when we proposed the ordinance, one of my colleagues actually said, this is a great bill, but it really would make sense for the state to do something, right? Because people don't know if they're in Henderson or North Las Vegas. And so this bill would actually solve the problem. One issue which often comes up with a bill like this is enforcement. I will say that with many of the bills that you consider, enforcement is issue, but the real issue with passing this bill has to do with raising awareness and education. In the City of Las Vegas, we've already heard from a couple of groups who were going to do balloon releases, but once they found out about the ordinance in place, they chose to celebrate the occasion in a different way. The City of Las Vegas is currently working with NV Energy around a public service awareness campaign. And so I think a lot of the good work will come from just raising awareness about the issue. Finally, I will say it would be great to pass this bill quickly because we see a lot of balloon releases around graduations. And so the sooner we can have something on the books, the sooner we can work around PSAs to stop the intentional outdoor release of helium-filled balloons, which, as you've heard, have a tremendous impact on the environment, on safety of workers, on power outages and our critical infrastructure, and small business continuity. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And before I walk the committee through the bill, I do want to thank the City Council member. She was instrumental in the amendment you see before you. We wanted to make sure that there was consistency between the ordinance that she authored and what we were doing at the state level. And so thank you, City Council member, for your help with the amendment. I would now like to summarize the provisions of the bill and highlight the changes proposed by the amendment. Assembly Bill 194 prohibits any person from intentionally releasing, organizing the release of, or causing the release of 10 or more balloons filled with a gas lighter than air within a 24-hour period. The amendment strikes out the specific number of balloons and removes language that would have treated each balloon released beyond the limit as a separate violation. Instead, a single civil penalty of up to $250 applies for violation of this provision. Civil penalties may be enforced through actions by the Attorney General, district attorneys, or city attorneys, and penalties collected are directed either to the state general fund or the local treasury funds, depending on which entity initiates the enforcement action. Additionally, enforcement authorities are empowered to seek injunctions to prevent further violations. The bill provides specific exemptions to ensure practicality and fairness in its application. Exemptions include hot air balloons that are recovered after launching, balloons used for governmental or scientific research projects, and balloons released indoors that do not escape into the environment. With that, Chair, we are open for questions.
Thank you so much, Majority Leader, for bringing this, and for everyone that participated in the presentation. First, I'd like to say the term electronically conductive balloons. I would love to take that to 4th and 5th graders and see if they could identify which were which. Also, it makes me think about when I was in 4th and 5th grade, the big thing was we would put little postcards on our helium balloons with our name and our address and let them go. And then hopefully someone from India or, Argentina would get our balloon, and then we became pen pals. And that's literally how we found our pen pals, which is writing letters back and forth to each other, for those who aren't certain about that one either. But there was just a lot of balloons that we let off intentionally. We did a lot of things that we didn't realize were really negative for the earth. So with that, we do have some questions. We will start with Assemblymember Gonzalez.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you so much, Majority Leader, for this bill. I actually didn't realize what a nuisance balloons were until just yesterday. I was going through my daughter's playpen, and the balloons from her birthday were still in there, and I'm just like, dang, these things do not go away. So I appreciate the bill, and this is something that we hear from constituents. My question, and thank you, Councilwoman, for being here. I really appreciate it. And maybe this is better for the Councilwoman. I'm wondering how many people have been charged under or held responsible under the city ordinance?
Thank you, Member Gonzalez. To date, we have not cited anyone. Again, we want to work with people. We know that the first step really is education and raising awareness. And so when we've encountered someone, we just explain that it's harmful, that there is an ordinance on the books, but we have not cited anyone.
Thank you so much for that. So is the first in your ordinance, because I don't have it in front of me, I apologize, is your first infraction a warning?
I don't have the ordinance in front of me either, but I believe it is.
Thank you. Our next question is from Assemblymember LaRue Hatch.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you for presenting this morning. So my question is around the word intentionally. I have a 7-year-old, and many of us have experienced a child weeping openly after letting go of their balloon on accident. And so I just wondered if you could speak to how we'll know if something is intentional or not.
Thank you for the question, Assemblymember LaRue Hatch. What we were envisioning is that a lot of people do balloon releases for celebrations. One of them that comes to mind is a celebration of life, right? It's very common, and that's what we're trying to do, is to prevent those. A toddler, releasing a balloon and crying is not intentional. We know that they are hanging on to those for dear life. But it's more just to get it out there that, hey, this is not allowed in the state of Nevada. So when we're doing birthdays, or when, the ones I think most people are familiar with are celebrations of life, which really, are the ones that I can think of the most. But even at parties, birthday parties, one of the things people do at the end of the party is they just snip the strings that are tied and intentionally let them go, and that's what we're trying to avoid.
Thank you. Our next question is from Assemblymember Moore.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. My district covers parts of downtown Las Vegas, and a few of the outages that Mr. Bellows mentioned were in my district. So I certainly understand it's a big issue, because there have been thousands and thousands of my constituents who have been left without power because of these balloons. But my question has to do with, there's a lot of folks in downtown Las Vegas, or they're gathering for a celebration of life or something. How is it that how will we know who released those balloons? especially if those balloons are the ones that cause the power outages.
And I'll ask Ms. Bruni, since this is already in effect in the area that you represent, and so how they enforcement. But enforcement's always an issue, right? Our job here is to pass the bills, and then we leave it to law enforcement or the Attorney General's office or the city attorney to enforce the laws and do what they do when they investigate, but our job here is just to pass the laws. But since your questions was specific to an area that actually already has this ordinance in place, I can ping Ms. Councilmember Bruni to see if she has any additional information.
Thank you, Nancy Bruni, for the record. So again, our marshals have not cited anyone. And as you've indicated, there are challenges with enforcement, but we view this as a way to, once it's on the book, to start raising awareness and educating people about the effects. And so to your point, I think that's one of the reasons we don't have any citations, because it is hard to find someone in the act. But I'm happy to chat with the marshals to see if they've observed anything during birthday parties in a park. But to date, we have not cited. I believe there have been a couple of instances where we've actually chatted with families and once again educated them about the ordinance on the books.
And Assemblymember Howdigi, for the record, I do want to add to that. Our goal isn't to find people and to cite them. Our goal is that the existence of the law actually prevents it from happening, and that's what the goal is, right? It's just that once these laws are on the books, that people actually don't do them because now they know that they are, against the law. So it's about prevention.
You're welcome. Next question is from Assemblymember Hardy.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for taking our questions. So this is perfect for my question is about the prevention. So is the power company or maybe the city, do you have a way or have you, have a way to make the public aware of it? Like, is there a campaign? Are you posting it or sharing it? Is that going on or could that be done? So like you're saying, we're educating people and letting them know the law or the ordinance.
Ryan Bellows, for the record, I'll go ahead and answer that. So thank you for the question. So we actively engage in PSA campaigns. We'll be going to do another one right now before graduations, and this is the perfect time. And Councilmember Bruni mentioned it also. We're partnering with the City of Las Vegas to collaborate on a more comprehensive campaign as well. So yes, we will take an active. We are taking an active role and have taken an active role on this.
Thank you. Our next question will be from Assemblymember Ordlicker.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for bringing the bill. My question also is about public awareness. One way we could make sure that people are aware before they might inadvertently violate this is when people go to rent or purchase the helium tank and the balloons, that the seller warn them and say, there's this prohibition about releasing balloons. Have you thought about requiring the vendors to warn the purchasers?
Thank you for the question, Assemblymember Orentlicker, Assemblymember Howdigi, for the record. I didn't want to put a mandate or require anything that would make it more expensive for businesses to do this. Businesses, if they would like to, can warn customers. I know that they are already required to give notification about having to buy a weight when buying Mylar balloons because of the bill passed in 2023. So if it's something additionally that they can do, but I chose not to make it a mandate on businesses. This is actually something that's going to be positive for small businesses because, again, so many of them, it's not just households. So many of the businesses are impacted by power outages as well.
I appreciate we don't want to burden businesses. On the other hand, this bill is about holding people accountable for the damage that happens. And if a business is involved in selling a product that they foreseeably will cause damage, it seems that they ought to be held accountable too.
Thank you. I would also suggest going at least to my elementary school. That would reduce a lot because kids are also fascinated with letting off balloons. you know, it's a fascinating thing. So I think going to the schools where we have large populations of people who love to let off balloons. Our next question is from Assemblymember Hanson.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning. Sorry, I can't look around here. Good to see you both. I'm always amazed at what we learn about that I really didn't have any idea about. And I have a brother who is a retired lineman from the power company in California. And so I am certainly concerned about the danger aspect, the fire, you know, what happens to animals. So, but what I'm trying to wrestle with here is the civil penalty. I know in Las Vegas, the council member mentioned, I think that maybe that it's a warning, but I don't see that in here, that it sounds like first-time offense would be a civil penalty. And that being said, I know this campaign of awareness, which I'm coming to an awareness of. I'm not a fan of balloons just because I had a tragic situation with an acquaintance with a child with a balloon and choking on him. So I'm like paranoid about balloons in my home with grandkids. Like I go around and pop them immediately, throw them away. But that being said, I'm just concerned how, and I know it's not about the civil penalty and enforcement, but yet we have ring cameras. Like if a balloon gets into a power line, causes an outage or causes damage, is that person then going to have some responsibility to pay for damages that might have incurred due to a fire from a power line, something like that?
That's a great question, Assembly Member. I'm not sure what happens after. What my bill addresses is just the civil response to the civil penalty that would be applied just for the releasing of the balloon. It doesn't address what would happen after.
Chair, thank you for that. And so perhaps to Mr. Bellows, does the power company have a mechanism where they can go for damages when somebody, you know, has been responsible for something like this?
Thank you for the question, Ryan Bellows. For the record, I can't recall an instance where where there has been a balloon that caused damage where we were able to recover damage. But if we are able to identify someone who has interfered or destroyed with our infrastructure, we can recoup those dollars from that person, and we've done that before. So if it's like a traffic accident, potentially like car to pole instance, certainly there would be a potential claim against the driver of the vehicle who damaged our infrastructure. So that principle exists.
Thank you. I believe Assemblymember Gonzalez, you have another question?
Thank you so much, Chair. Again, thank you for the presentation. I was wondering, in the other states where this has passed, has it been a deterrence for the balloon releases?
I don't have the stats on that, Assemblymember Gonzalez. I can definitely do the research and get that to you. I know it's been passed in 10 other states, so we can look to see what, you know, if it's been measured.
Not seeing any additional questions? Oh, go ahead. Except for Assemblymember
Thank you,
Ortega.
Chair. Yeah, I'm curious about the distinction between balloons that can degrade in 5 minutes and those that can't. What kind of balloons can degrade within 5 minutes?
I know that latex balloons are biodegradable. I don't know how long it takes for them to biodegrade, but mylar balloons are not.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, this is Nicole. I can answer that. The concept of a biodegradable latex balloon is actually a fallacy. It does biodegrade, but it's 5 to 10 years, according to the EPA.
Okay, well, that answered my question, which is we can't make balloons out of like Tide Pod material. I know that was very scientific, but some things. Okay. Did you have a follow-up? Proceed.
Okay, so as far as you know, there aren't any balloons that could be used. Somebody might invent one, or maybe we'll have a new business for degradable balloons, but we're not aware of any that could be used right now.
Assemblymember Howdy, for the record, no, my understanding is that the only ones that are biodegradable are the latex balloons, and as you heard from my constituent, it's not 5 minutes, it's 5 to 10 years.
Assemblywoman Miller, this is Nicole Bott. May I go
Yes.
back and add to
Yes,
the
please.
awareness?
Yes, please,
For a moment?
absolutely.
Thank you. So I work with UNLV Preschool. I'm a firm believer in early childhood development, and I go in and I read to the children about another issue that I'm passionate about, and this is going to be added to the list because the impact that presentations and information that are made to these children, they take those home to their parents and it lasts them a lifetime. I've seen it. And then I've also thought about going to the elementary schools where my son attended. And I'm perfectly happy to do that on a voluntary basis. And I know that Christian and I are both active on social media and activate that or advocate that way as well.
Thank you for that. And I agree with you. Oftentimes, these are things that once children are told, it sticks with them. And the next time, then they're squealing around their parents, you know, what they learned at school or preschool. So I think, as well as the suggestion of if business owners wanted to voluntarily just remind folks or put up a little sign, hey, you can't do this. I think that you know, the word, as well as social media, the word would get out. Any additional questions? Not seeing any, I will go ahead and open it up for testimony. We will begin with testimony in support of Assembly Bill 194. First here in Carson City. Again, I ask that everyone please state your name and spell it so we have it correct for the record, and also to please keep your comments to 2 minutes each. So is there anyone here in Carson City? Not seeing anyone, then I will go ahead to Las Vegas.
Good morning. My name is Christian Daniels, and I'm here today representing the Desert Balloon Project. I started this initiative 5 years ago after seeing the desert covered in balloon litter. I learned that our endangered desert tortoises mistake mylar balloons for wildflowers, which is their main food source. When they eat them, it can cause harm or even death to this iconic species. Nevadians have found a way to pollute the most remote parts of our state without ever setting foot in the desert. The Desert Balloon Project is made up of sportsmen, hikers, off-roaders, and other outdoor enthusiasts. Together, we've worked hard to clean up the desert and protect tortoises and other wildlife. Personally, I've hiked over 1,000 miles and picked up more than 4,000 balloons. But despite our efforts, the balloons keep coming. Our mission is to educate the public, especially kids, that releasing a balloon has consequences. This simple message starts them on a path of lifelong environmental awareness. Our work aligns with Assemblywoman Hadagi's bill to ban the outdoor release of mylar balloons in Nevada. I am here today to strongly support Assembly Bill number 194. This bill will help prevent balloon pollution, protect wildlife, sustain our power grid, and keep our desert landscapes beautiful for future generations. I am asking you to support this bill and take an important step toward a cleaner, safer environment for Nevadans and our native species. Thank you.
Thank you. And could you please state and spell your name again for the record, please?
Christian Daniels, CHRISTIANDANIELS.
Thank you. Is there anyone else there in Las Vegas that would like to testify in support? Not seeing anyone. Broadcasting, will you open the lines?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 194, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, if you would like to testify in support of AB 194, please press *9 now.
Hi, good morning. Appreciate the opportunity to support this ban on outdoor balloon release. My name is Carrie Rohrmeyer, and I am with the Nature Conservancy Nevada chapter. Thank you.
Could you spell your name, please?
Absolutely. Kerry, and then Rohrmeyer is Rohrmeier.
Thank you so much.
Sarah, there are no other callers to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. Then I will open it up for opposition testimony to Assembly Bill 194.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. My name is Nick Sheepak, Nickshepak. I'm the Nevada State Director of the Fines and Fees Justice Center. This is extremely light opposition. The bill as written was deeply concerning with a possible $250 fine for each balloon above. We didn't believe that was constitutional. We very much appreciate the amendment. After the discussion today, it sounds like the Las Vegas ordinance may have a provision where a warning is levied first. If that were to be added, something like that, into the bill, we would remove all opposition. It sounds like Las Vegas, Clark County is prepared to run a robust education campaign. I have concerns that this education campaign will not reach the rural areas. And so a warning would be beneficial for those individuals that don't have the type of public education infrastructure that we have in our most populous cities. But again, very light opposition, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else here that would like to oppose Assembly Bill 194? Okay. Is there anyone in Carson City that would like to oppose Assembly Bill 194? Not seeing anyone. Broadcasting, will you open the lines?
The public lines are open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to testify in neutral for AB 194? Are you sure? Okay. Is there anyone there in Las Vegas? Not seeing anyone. Broadcasting, will you open the lines?
The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you. Then I will welcome the Majority Leader back up for any final remarks.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. I did want to see if I could find some of the stats on the 10 states who have implemented this type of law, and what I've found is that they're actually all pretty new. Florida just implemented theirs in 2024, and they have already posted that they've seen a decrease in balloon releases. California passed theirs in 2022, and they have reported that they have seen a 28% decrease in balloon-related outages since they passed the bill of year over year. And Hawaii just passed theirs in 2023 as well. So I'm sure as the years go on, we'll be able to collect more data, but I was happy to see that they actually do work, and the 28% decrease in the first year is a big number. So thank you for the opportunity to present Assembly Bill 194, and thank you to my constituent, Ms. Bott, who was very strong and didn't lose hope and hung on for 2 years until we were able to bring this bill back. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And with that, it was a pleasure having you here with us today, Majority Leader. I will go ahead and close Assembly Bill 194. Last on our list, on our agenda today is public comment. The phone number today is 888-475-4499. Our meeting ID is 839-601-89964. So, anyone wishing to provide public comment here in Carson City, again, it's not to make comments on the bills that we just heard, but for anything else under the purview of our committee. So is there anyone wishing to make public comment here in Carson City? Not seeing anyone. Is there anyone there in Las Vegas that would like to make public comment? Also not seeing anyone. Broadcasting, will you open the lines?
Public line is open and working. There are no callers to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you. And that, I will go ahead and close public comment. It was good seeing you and having you participate, Councilmember Brune. And after that, we have finished our business. I see Assemblymember Cole is already staring me down. So with that, I will adjourn, and I will see you all back at 9 a.m. on Monday morning. Have a great weekend. You're welcome. You're welcome.